Well, the
thing?
first thing I'm doing is I'm getting on the phone every day, right? No, things have changed in the sense that it could be more difficult to reach people or what have you. But I'm not stopping or buying into. I'm still getting up every morning, and like I said, getting myself to the office. And the very first thing I do is looking at the expireds, looking at my leads, and seeing who I need to call first. And like the hottest people are on my mind, who's close
Uh-huh.
to doing something. And
Yeah.
when I say doing something, it's around a list, who's going to sign a listing contract this week.
Hi, I'm Noel with today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. On today's episode, we welcome Norm Odeneal from Arlington, Virginia. Hi, Norm. How are you?
Doing well, Noel. Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So tell us a little bit about your background in real estate.
Yeah, probably not your typical background in real estate. I worked for the federal government for 10 years, and then I made a big career change and got into residential real estate. And this December, that decision will have been 20 years ago. This December is 20 years for me as a licensee.
Well, then you're doing something right. And I'm glad you're on the show because 20 years in real estate is quite impressive.
Thank you.
What are you doing? Talk us through your daily schedule.
Oh, I love it. It's really repetitious boredom because the daily schedule does exist. The daily schedule is something like this. I usually get up at 6 and then I go straight to exercising. I'm currently doing a Pelotoning. I Peloton every morning, and that has not always been the case. For probably 15 years of my real estate career, I was doing almost no exercise. And over the last 5 or 6 years, I've been getting up in the morning and just getting after it. And so that's been a huge change for me.
Yeah.
But always was an early riser, 6, gym, workout, and then I get the kids to school. We do a couple things at the house, and then I'm in the office by about 7:45. A little bit of affirmations, and then it's checking expireds, looking at lead follow-up, those type of things.
Okay, so a couple things that you mentioned. I want to talk about the exercise that you implemented. What did this do for you? What kind of changes did it make to your prospecting in the last 5 years?
Yeah. Well, number one is, it's giving me more energy. My clothes fit differently. I'm feeling better about myself. That's always a plus. And then, it's one of those things where it's in a routine. You're building a habit, and that has been beautiful because it's proof to myself that I can do it. I've got a track record of doing it. It keeps a calendar for me on the bike. You can see back in the history. It's every time my monkey brain says you can't, I have proof that I did.
Yeah.
And it's a great little way to start the day, just getting into a sweat.
Yeah, and it probably, or for me anyways, it gives me a little bit of clarity. My brain definitely feels fresh and not so foggy.
Oh, yes.
So
I've
that's
started seeing my affirmations on the bike too. And I've got some things taped up around the bike just to put my head, just because, my brain starts testing me as soon as I wake up, and I'm fighting back with, what I want out of this day.
Yes. And are you going to do what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, totally.
With all these hours presented.
Exactly.
So for affirmations, maybe some newer people that aren't really comfortable with something like that, how did you get started in that? What are some simple affirmations that you tell yourself that someone else could share?
Yeah. Today's going to be a great day. People want to hear what I have to say. I'm a great listing agent. I'm a great real estate agent, and just pouring that in is a great way to start. So something simple about what you're headed towards, what's important to you.
Absolutely. So listing agent, what does that look like for you? What are your numbers? How much percentage wise is listing versus buyer representation?
Oh, that's so good. Short answer, I'm very close to 100% on listings.
Wow.
I just did my first buyer, and I got the paperwork a little forwards and backwards. It's been almost 2 years since I worked with a buyer.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not serious. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
You're doing it right. So tell us what you're doing then. What are you doing when you get on the phone? What are you saying? You have a script
Yeah.
or
Well, the
anything?
first thing I'm doing is I'm getting on the phone every day, right? No, things have changed in the sense that it could be more difficult to reach people or what have you. But I'm not stopping or buying into. I'm just going to throw my hands up, right, and wait
Yeah.
for this. I'm still getting up every morning, and like I said, getting myself to the office. And the very first thing I do is looking at the expireds, looking at my leads, and seeing who I need to call first. And like the hottest people are on my mind, who's close
Uh-huh.
to doing something. And
Yeah.
when I say doing something, it's around a list, who's going to sign a listing contract this week.
So what's the hottest lead to you? Is that new expireds?
Yeah, so the hottest lead to me really, yeah, is someone who's going to sign up with me this week. Right now, Noel, I'm calling everybody. It's not just I would say maybe 10 years ago, I was doing the majority of my business from expireds.
Okay.
But because the market shifted over the last little bit, it's been I need to call everybody. Expireds, by owners, folks that had rented last year, see what they're doing this year, staying in touch with my database more often. It has been a lot more touches to get the same business. And in fact, my business is a little bit down right now.
Really?
The past couple of years. Yeah.
So a little bit down for you. What does that look like if you don't mind sharing? So
Yeah, well, percentage wise, I went, we're down something like 25%. And then you can see that in the market though, because number of listings per month, inventory is down, say 40% many times throughout last year. Like right now, we're down about 10%. And these are like, instead of beating myself up, I'm aware of the stats in the marketplace that we're getting less opportunities for an at bat. So my business being down 25%, while I don't like it, I know that practicing, I'll still get kind of what I want out of it, and eventually probably going to slingshot way past this.
Absolutely, because you're not taking it personal, because you're keeping
Not taking it
yourself
personal.
educated in the market stats, and then all the work that you're doing behind the scenes is definitely going to pay off, because the people that do take it personal are not making the calls.
Well, that's just it. Like, it doesn't take much for you to jump in and get into the office, get in your routine, and something kind of knocks you off just a little bit. And then you're kind of, you're not 100%. And then you really have to protect your morning schedule is where I'm going with this. And back to my business, I just want to say I'm looking for a new business all morning where, and that's up until usually about 12:30. With calls, phone calls, text, getting in conversation with as many people as I can to see, where I can find a lead and then set up an appointment to go out on.
Yeah.
And that's right up to about noon, 12:30.
And then you'll go on your appointments or nourish other leads, maybe.
Exactly. So afternoons, right now, I don't have a set appointment times, but I do try to do it before 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And the other piece of this is, if you don't have an appointment, you can go out, you can preview, you could door knock, you could set something up. Something I'm trying to do is get more involved in my sphere. These are folks that know me, love me, and want to give me business. Maybe in the past, I didn't have such a great connection with the coffees and the lunches. So lately I've tried to set up at least one coffee a week with somebody I either don't know or need to reconnect with. And that's been happening a lot in the afternoons. And it's just a nice way for folks to get to know me. And then people like to do business with people they know and trust.
Absolutely. So are these past clients, or are these people that you just know through the grocery store or your daughter's school and activities?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So It is people like that, people I know socially and or want to connect with more. At the same time, I wrote down a list of about 5 people that I wanted to connect with in my community, from attorneys to business owners to connectors, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then
Mm-hmm.
I found folks. I said, "Who knows this group? Who knows this group?" And I did that probably for 6 months last year, and then I started finding people who could introduce me to those people, because they weren't kind of returning, those folks weren't returning my cold calls or, hey,
Uh-huh.
let's get together. I got a third party mutual friend, and then I'm working my way through this list. And these are movers and shakers. These are people I want to connect with. These are people
Yeah.
who are referring business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back a little bit to your schedule,
Yeah.
do you, when you're working your business hours and looking for new business, are you staying off your phone and staying off social media when it comes to friends that want to chit chat,
Yeah.
or even, let's say, lenders or title companies that want your business and are seeking you out for a lunch or
Yeah.
a morning coffee? What are you saying to them to keep your schedule the way that you need it to be to do what you need to do?
Oh, that's so good. The number one thing you can do for yourself, and that's working for me, is to protect that morning schedule. You're doing it for yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it's like, hey, can I just call you back later? Or I got your message, I'll call you back after 1. That really gives them confidence that, they were heard and seen. And then you can go do what you want to do versus ignoring them.
Yes.
So I am on my phone. I will reply to things like that. Hey, let me get back to you. And another thing I'm doing on my phone is, so much of this like now is text message,
Mm-hmm.
is so I am constantly texting as many leads while the dialer is working.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, multitask. And
Mm-hmm.
so there, I am on the phone. I don't go on social. I I don't know if I'm too old. I just never really got
No,
into
you're not.
caring.
I mean, no, because social media is, well, it's a trap. If you get on there in the morning, you get sucked
Yes,
in. And I'm
I
like,
know.
no,
It's like,
if I
hey,
pick up every call, I'm not going to get anything done. But some people get their feelings hurt.
they do. They
Yeah.
do. They really do. And I totally get it. The best thing you can do for yourself is to try to pick that up later.
Yeah.
Later. It's like your big rocks. You got to put your big rocks in first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get the other things. But if you try to prospect or look for business in the afternoon, it's you're not the same energy level.
Not at
And
all.
it's it's best to just stay away and try to compartmentalize or time block. I
Mm-hmm.
find that best for me. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, staying away from those things. Are we also staying away from the scary headlines? And what are you putting into your brain instead? Are you reading any good books that you recommend for
I
other
love
people?
that. Yeah. I had some great advice given to me a long time ago, was stay away from the news
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. And I'm kind of a news junkie. Obviously, I have an opinion. But at the
Yeah.
same time, when you dive into that, it sucks your energy, and then you're low energy for the task you really wanted that could
Mhm.
benefit you. For example, we're talking about this prospecting in your business. So what do I do? I try to stay away from the news. Um, I don't dive into it or deep dive or really bring it up with others. What I do though is the affirmations. I'm constantly looking for things to pour into myself,
Mhm.
and that does go a lot with books and podcasts. One of the books that I encourage everybody to read, if you haven't read it yet, is The Four Agreements. Are
Okay.
you familiar with this one?
I am familiar with it, but I don't think I've read it. And I have a pretty big library at home, but I'm going to put it on my list.
I totally recommend it. I've read it different times. It's not a long book. There's only 4 agreements. But it's
I can
totally worth
visualize
going
the
back
book
to.
cover right now. So I know I've seen it, but it's not on my bookshelf at home. So I'm going to have to get it.
Beautiful. I hope you do.
I will.
Someone encouraged me to reread it, and I was like, reread? I already read that. And then I was like, and then ended up reading it, listening to it
Mhm.
twice recently. And one of the things is, when you're in this business and you're got your head down, you're wearing so many hats, and you're doing so much of this job, that it does help you, this book, For Agreements, it just kind of gives you a baseline, a handrail that you can reach for when you're not sure or you just want a reminder. And I'd say that's a great book to start with.
All right. Yay. I love it. That's wonderful. So what is your goal for this year? How many transactions?
Yeah, so not a ton of transactions. 45 would be good for me this year. And right now, even with pressure on pricing, our median sales price is up 10%.
Okay.
Meaning,
What is it up there?
yeah. So right now we're in about 780 on a median. I know Northern Virginia, Arlington, Virginia, we're a suburb of Washington, D.C. And so great jobs here and lots of pricey homes. So I would say it's not uncommon in our market to have regular sales at 2 million, 3 million. Brand new construction in our area starts north of 2 million.
Okay, so you want some of those?
I want a lot of those. I know I said I don't work with a lot of buyers, but if you're buying 2 million, you call me.
Norm, thank you so much for coming on today. Tell everybody how we can reach you.
Yeah, here's my website, callnorm.com. Email super simple, norm@callnorm.com. And cell phone is 703-587-0945. Love to hear from you. And anybody who wants to talk real estate, get in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure, Noel.